All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to be unmasking the patterns of narcissistic behavior. And look, this isn't about pointing fingers. It's about bringing some much-needed clarity to all that confusion. This is all about understanding these dynamics so you can protect yourself and really start to reclaim your own sense of who you are. So, have you ever been in a relationship, any kind of relationship, that just leaves you feeling totally drained? Confused, maybe even questioning your own sanity? It is an incredibly isolating place to be. And if that sounds even a little bit familiar, then this explainer is definitely for you. This feeling, this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? That feeling of constantly walking on eggshells, that tension where you're carefully choosing every single word, every action, just trying to keep the peace. It's a huge red flag and a clear sign that something in that dynamic needs a much closer look. Okay, so let's build a solid foundation here. It is so important to get this up front. We are not diagnosing anyone. That's not our job. Instead, what we're doing is learning to recognize a spectrum of behaviors, a pattern. Think of it like learning to read the sky. You don't have to be a meteorologist to know when a storm might be rolling in.
So this is the textbook definition we're working with. But what's really fascinating, and kind of sad really, is what's hiding underneath this pattern. It's almost never about genuine strength. It's usually about a deep-seated, desperate need to cover up a profound insecurity.
I love this metaphor. It's just a perfect way to picture it. Imagine someone building this massive, imposing fortress of grandiosity and entitlement. From the outside, it looks so strong, right? But the whole thing is just there to protect something incredibly fragile and small on the inside. Now, this doesn't excuse harmful behavior, not at all, but it does help us understand where it's coming from. Okay, this is a really, really critical distinction to make. A lot of people might have a few narcissistic traits. I mean, let's be honest, we can all be a bit self-focused from time to time. But that is a world away from narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD. NPD is a pervasive clinical diagnosis that seriously impairs someone's life. For what we're talking about today, we're just focusing on recognizing the traits and their impact. So what are the actual building blocks of this pattern? Well, first you have grandiosity, that exaggerated sense of self-importance. Then comes this constant, deep need for admiration, like a real hunger for praise. That's usually paired with a lack of empathy, which makes it almost impossible for them to truly connect with or validate how others feel. And finally, you've got this sense of entitlement, just an unreasonable expectation of getting special treatment. Those four are really the cornerstones. All right, now that we've got the core characteristics down, let's see how they actually show up in the real world. We're going to open up what you might call the manipulator's toolkit and really look at the specific tactics they use so you can start to spot them when they happen. First up, a big one you've probably heard of, gaslighting. This is such an insidious tactic. It's where someone systematically chips away at your confidence in your own mind and your own reality. It's designed to make you feel unstable, to make you doubt your own judgment, which of course makes you more dependent on them. And here's a classic example. That never happened. First, they deny your reality. Then, they attack your reaction to it. You're being overly sensitive. See what happens? The blame is completely shifted onto you. It's an incredibly disorienting tactic that makes you wonder if you're the one who's actually got the problem. Next up in the toolkit is something called love bombing. And let me tell you, this feels amazing at first. It's a total whirlwind of affection, constant compliments, maybe even lavish gifts. But here's the thing. Its purpose is to create this false sense of deep intimacy really, really fast. It's about getting you hooked before the dynamic inevitably shifts. And love bombing is just the first stage in a very predictable and very toxic cycle. After that initial high of idealization comes the devaluation stage, where suddenly you're criticized, you're belittled. Then comes the discard, which is often just an abrupt, cold ending that leaves you reeling. And just when you think you're finally free, that's when the hoovering can start, that attempt to suck you right back in to start the whole cycle over again. So listen, if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. Stop trying to figure out their intentions. It doesn't matter if they meant to be hurtful or not. What matters, the only thing that matters, is the impact their behavior has on you. How does it make you feel? You have to trust your gut. If a pattern consistently makes you feel small, confused, or hurt, that is the reality you need to focus on, period. All right, let's take a minute to clear up some common confusion. There are a ton of myths and misunderstandings floating around about narcissism, and honestly, getting the facts straight is a really powerful step towards finding your clarity.
Okay, myth number one. This is just extreme confidence. In reality, they are pretty much opposites. Think about it. Real, healthy confidence is internal. It's a quiet strength. Narcissistic grandiosity, on the other hand, is a loud, fragile performance. It's for an audience, and it's built on a foundation of deep, deep insecurity.
Here's another common myth that narcissists are always the loud, arrogant person in the room. But that completely misses a whole other side of it. There's also what's called covert narcissism. These individuals can actually seem shy or sensitive or even play the victim. But underneath it all, they still have that same sense of entitlement and use more passive-aggressive ways to manipulate the people around them.
And finally, this is a really nuanced but important point. While the behavior is incredibly damaging, it often comes from a place of deep psychological pain or even trauma, not from a place of pure evil. And let me say it again. Understanding this is not about excusing the harm. It's about seeing the full, complex picture of a person desperately defending a very fragile ego.
So, after breaking all of this down, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us with the most important tool we could possibly have: knowledge. Understanding these patterns isn't just some academic exercise. It is the absolute key to your own empowerment.
Because when you can recognize these patterns, you can finally start to protect yourself from emotional abuse. You gain the clarity you need to set firm, healthy boundaries. It actually improves your own self-awareness, and ultimately, it lets you make conscious, informed decisions about who you allow to have a place in your life.
This right here is the ultimate takeaway. This knowledge, it's not a tool to fix or change the other person. Honestly, that's just a recipe for more heartache. The crucial shift is to turn the focus entirely around. This is about protecting and empowering yourself. So, I'll leave you with this question to really think about. Now that you're armed with this clarity, now that you can see the patterns, what is one small, manageable boundary you can set in your life, starting today, to begin reclaiming your energy and your peace? Because knowledge is only power when you actually put it to use.